What's up? This is Task. This is Superhero Tactics Devlog number 6. Country Selection. Laws. The playable version of the game, you're going to be able to select one of 4 countries. These 4 countries are different from every other country in the world because they have some sort of time manipulation or time travel or what have you. United States, you as a player can travel in the past. From the time you start the game, as time goes on, you can always travel back, giving them a distinct advantage. India has a character that she can time travel to the future. Periodically, she brings things back. She also brings people back, allowing you to duplicate people sometimes. She can bring back members of your team, so on and so forth. The next group is a little bit more complicated, so I'm kind of going to skip them. China is, they have someone who can travel in the past, just like the lady. He can travel in the past, and but he can't bring people back at all. These 4 countries have a distinct advantage in the game because there's some sort of time travel between the 4 of them. Every country in the game has a bunch of statistics. We have 169 different countries. We've been talking a lot about the cities and the fact that we have like about 2,000-ish, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, but like 2,000-ish cities. But here, these are our countries. And unfortunately, they aren't time-coded anymore, but we have everything down to the motto of the country. You'll be surprised, that the United States is "In God We Trust." And then once you know that as an American, it's like, oh yeah, of course, it's on our dollar bill. Yeah, but if I would have asked you what the motto was before you saw that, you wouldn't have knew probably, because I know I didn't know. But it's pretty cool to see the different mottos that the countries have, but that's not really the interesting stuff. So laws, let's get down to it. Laws. So looking at the laws for each country, you have 3 different designations. You have the red X, you have the traffic light, and you have the green check mark. The green check mark means it's legal. The traffic light means it's like rare or it's controlled. It's like in between. And then the X means no way, Jose. It's banned. So these 5 different things here under laws are vigilantism. Vigilantism is the legality of law enforcement without legal authority. So, in Central African Republic, you can enforce the law even though you don't have legal authority. In Chad, you cannot enforce the law without legal authority. So, even though you got the power to teleport, like you can't be going around teleporting people and doing your own little investigations. Like I'm here because I want to find out. I'm in your house because I want to find out who stole such and such from down the street. Nah, you can't do that in Chad. But you can do that in a couple other countries. And in Cuba, it's regulated. If you work for the government, then they allow you to do it. It's like a little thin line between being a government worker and being a vigilante. And this is all, stuff that is a part of the game lore and United Nations regulations and all of that stuff. But let me move a little bit faster. So you got capital punishment. Capital punishment is kind of self-explanatory, except for the traffic light. For that means that it's rare. All right, so that's capital punishment and vigilantism and how they relate to each other. Super weapons. In Finland, super weapons are legal. So that means it's the living super weapons. That's why it shows the hand. The living super weapons. So that means that if a person has powers or abilities, they don't have to report to anybody. They just like a regular citizen without any issues. However, in a country like Georgia or Ghana or Honduras, in a country like Honduras, is regulated. So that means they have to sign up with the country. You know, there's some exceptions, but they have to sign up with the country, register with the country. So your organization will have direct access to those people. You know who they are, you know where they are, you know people that's not registered, and you have to deal with that as a threat, especially in Honduras, because they don't have any terrorists, and so their security apparatus would most likely be concentrating on the vigilantism. And since they don't have capital punishment, y'all locking them in some type of special, holding facility. If your organization partners with a free, sovereign, and independent Honduras. Next up is cloning. Super weapons. If they're banned, if super weapons are banned there, I don't know what to tell you. You got to register. I don't know what to tell you. That it gets complicated. That we're not even talking about that right now. All right. So and it hasn't been balanced. India is not going to ban super weapons. It's definitely going to be regulated from India. But you won't be able to select India as your own organization. You have to select them from the four. Cloning. In the game, when one of your characters dies, you can have insurance on that death. So if you've been if you sign up for the insurance, what happens is when the character dies, the clone is activated, and the clone has all the physical attributes of the actual character before they pass away. It takes some time to get them out of the water, but once he's up and going, he has your character's physical attributes, whatever powers, whatever abilities, anything like that he had. Now, the trainings and all of that stuff is a different animal, and that we still trying to figure out what we're going to do in that direction. But that's how that goes with cloning. Now, terrorism is where the security apparatus of each country concentrates their forces. So each country right now, the economics and security section here isn't populated. But once it is populated, what you'll see is each country where their focus is. And it's not a measure of resources. It scales to who they are as a country. For example, let's pull up the sheet. And let's look at law enforcement. These are the top countries that spend the most money, that spend the most per capita on their law enforcement. They have the most law enforcement per population, per like 100,000 or 200,000 or something like that, 500,000. But these are the people that have spend the most on their police force. So they care the most about their law enforcement. Once they have access to an extension of the government and the security apparatus, which is your organization, these people are going to have you doing more law enforcement than anything. And the world is an unstable place right now because of a lot of events that you'll find out as you as we start to market the game and stuff. These are the countries that you'll be doing the most law enforcement stuff for. And that's what is not reflected currently on the country selection screen. And that's a conversation for another day. With that said, terrorism is another threat besides the vigilantes, the super weapons. The terrorists are definitely an issue because some of the terrorists also have living super weapons. And that becomes a whole nother problem when you have countries that have super high terrorism. Nigeria has extremely high terrorism. On a scale of 10 to 90, they have 82 terrorism. So as you have your soldiers, scientists, and living superweapons, and you work for Nigeria, that is going to be a major concern for you, and that's what you're going to be dealing with a lot. That's who you're going to be fighting with a lot. That's who you're going to be trying to outsmart a lot. But then when you have another country like Uganda, but when you have a country like Uganda, they have low terrorism. I thought terrorism would be lower than that, but they have relatively low terrorism for the region. But they have high science, 70. Cloning is regulated. Superweapons are regulated. Vigilantism may end up being regulated. There's some very unique things going on in the world, in the game world, out of Uganda when it comes to science. But very high government corruption. So that's really all I want to talk about for this particular devlog. The laws on the country selection screen and what they will do for you in game. This is Taz. This is Superhero Tactics. And have a good one.